What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Inconsequential Gaming. So, just in case there is those 10 people out there that have been curious about where I've been, yeah, YouTube changed its policy, and now I don't get paid for making videos. So, I don't work for free. So, yeah, I pretty much said screw that. Once their policy changes, I might be back. But I'm more so focusing on doing group projects like finishing the Dark Souls map for the Terraria game and things like that. Now, what you're watching now is one of those rare screens that you get from Dark Souls 3 that occasionally pop up that goes through all the changes that the game has been through since it first released. And I thought for those like me, which are rare, who are really interested about how many changes this game has gone through, if you want to pause the video and kind of like scan through them, like here you are. Like these are, well, from what I can tell, I kind of kept it mostly for a record for myself, but yeah, these are all the changes that we've had to the game since it first came out, like right in front of you. So yeah, if you ever wanted a copy of that, like there you go. It's in this video. So yeah, today I wanted to discuss 20 things about Dark Souls Remastered and my opinions on it. It's gonna be a rather long video because I have a lot to say, but it's also interesting because I don't really care. And I guess this will kind of weed out all the people who pretty much get through just this part, because after this there's gonna be gameplay footage of me playing Dark Souls 3. So if you want to skip ahead, I think all of that footage starts around the 1 minute and 30-second mark, something like that. I'll probably have like an annotation where it is that starts. But yeah, here you go, all the changes that we've had to the game so far, which is interesting because that's exactly what I want to discuss in Dark Souls Remastered. Is the fact that I'm surprised that the game isn't going to look something like this screen where there's a bunch of changes and updates. Now, mind you, I totally understand why they wouldn't do that. Probably for the same reason that I'm not making videos anymore for YouTube. It's not worth doing. Like, the amount of money that they're going to make from it, and the team that they would have to hire to fix anything that they break, etc., probably isn't worth the investment. So they're better off just kind of banking on the people enjoying the game the way it is. Like, the game was playable. A port's gonna be playable. It's gonna have minor glitches and stuff, but I have my complaints, and so I have a list of 20 things that I want to discuss about Dark Souls 1. Some things are developer side, some things are user side. I think my complaints are pretty much a mixed bag. So now that these changes to Dark Souls 3 are about to be over, here we go. Let's start. So I have my list right here. And I pretty much was laughing out loud when I made this. Oh, and I want to discuss what happened here real quick. So this is why you should never be good at Dark Souls 3. Now this is Dark Souls 3, a game that's pretty balanced. Like, regardless of lag and whether people hack and cheat, depending on how badly they hack or cheat, like for example, like him lag switching like that, boom, he still gets hit. But the thing is, just like, I've gotten good at timing people. Some things, like, people are predictable. They use these weapons the same way. Boom, countered. Bam. This is the worst thing you can possibly do in a Dark Souls game. Never, ever embarrass an elitist. That's the last thing you want to do. Now he's going to send his entire beehive after me, and the rest of the matches are me losing. So anyhow, the first thing I want to discuss is the toxic community. If you think Dark Souls 3 is bad, oh boy, I feel so sorry for the newbies that are going to come into this game, especially through the first one. Yeah, man, you're going to have a hard time. Now, my experience in Dark Souls 1 was very interesting because I came in with a very specific idea in mind. I wanted to play a stealth character. Now, I think I've discussed that at length in some of my older videos, I wouldn't recommend watching them because it's one of the things where it's more so like a history lesson, and it's just like I'm not necessarily the exciting person on YouTube. Like I'm more of like an information guy, and most people like spectacle and stuff. So I'm just gonna assume that you're part of the spectacle people, and I'm sorry if you're not. It's not an insult or anything like that. It's just like my channel's small for a reason. But yeah, you're gonna be in for a surprise because Dark Souls 1 community. If you think the exploits that people use here are bad, like tumble buffing and like using like phantom range in a dark sword, wait till you get to Dark Souls 1. This is mostly for the people who've never played the game. Like, I feel bad for you, man. Like, they're gonna pretty much infect you with their toxin. I would recommend you stay away from it, but hey, if you always wanted to play Dark Souls, who am I to tell you what to do, right? More cheating. This is my second thing. More cheating, more exploits. Welcome to Dark Souls. Man, if you think you were salty about the stuff people do now, wait till you get chain backstabbed to death. Chain backstabbed into lag. Like, oh my goodness, like it's the worst. And then on top of that, you have to worry about people twinking, which means that a lot of times you won't even survive the first backstab. Like, when you're lower level, like, you're going to get backstabbed and it's going to probably be over. So, prepare for that. So it's not a remake, it's a remaster. Now, my issue with this is I kind of feel like if you're going to remaster the game, allow people to have a way of, I would say, exploring it a little differently. And what I mean by that is there is one way to play Dark Souls, because Dark Souls is a flawed classic. So there is a right way to play it. Like, don't let anybody tell you any differently. Oh, you can do that. No. There's a right way to play Dark Souls, and it's very specific. If you do a lot of other stuff, you're going to have a hard time. Like, pretty much the starting gift you should get is the Master Key. Like, there's no reason you shouldn't have the Master Key. Like, why would you? It's kind of like stuff like that. Like, why even bother with any of the other stuff? And I'm so serious right now. In addition to that, like, I don't know, when I say, like, there's the right way, like, if you look at a strategy guide, most people are going to tell you, oh, well, you can fight this boss, that boss. Like, that stuff doesn't even really count. It's more so just the option of like how it is that you want to explore, I guess. But for the most part, there's a right way to play Dark Souls, and they're not going to change, anything interesting. They're not going to make it where, maybe you can get a late game item quickly and it'll open a way to like another interesting spot. It's all about that shortcut with that one gate with the Master Key. And if you know how to jump, down through the lower undead bird, that little shortcut, like, it's stuff like that. But pretty much there's one right way to play Dark Souls, and don't let anybody tell you differently, because that's just facts. Like, I don't have any reason to lie to you. Blighttown. Now oh boy, look at that. Oh, I want to parry you. How dare you? But man, Blighttown and its platform and clipping. Like, are y'all gonna fix that or not? Like, the glitching, or I would say like the frame rate thing is obvious, but y'all gonna fix y'all platforms or not? Like, that one little wooden platform that has the soul or whatever item on it where you can easily slip off because there's like no right way to walk on that thing? Like, y'all gonna fix that or not? Like, these are just questions that I had. The Gravelord Covenant, are y'all gonna fix that or not? Especially since you have multiplayer being such a big deal, are y'all finally gonna fix the Gravelord Covenant? Because, I mean, I didn't see anything about you saying anything with that. Like, that's actually one that's interesting. Actually, one of the more interesting things, even though I'm totally against cheating and hacking, was when people would intentionally Gravelord themselves. Like, it actually made Dark Souls 1 a lot more interesting. At least from, like, me watching it. Like, I haven't actually played it, Gravelorded, but, I've watched some of the best people play it, and it looked fun. It actually changed the game a lot. So are they gonna fix that, or, cross-platform or not? You got all these platforms that's coming out on. Are they gonna be able to play together? I can see you excluding PC. I would definitely do that for obvious reasons, but I'm just asking questions like here, or like, y'all gonna fix that or not? Like, cross-platform or not? Now, the thing is, it's just like the control changes, right? Where you can modify your controller. That's cool. I always wish that Dark Souls kind of had that, but I mean, when you think about it, like, is it really necessary? For as poorly as Dark Souls 1 controls, you know, what will changing your controller really do? Now, the only reason that I'm kind of thinking that's a good thing is because it's going to be on so many platforms that the way that like the buttons are set up are probably going to be better if they're customizable. So that's cool, but I mean, that's kind of throwaway. I'm like, maybe. Now, 6 players, and I'm like, why? The only way I see that being interesting or fun are in the catacombs in Blighttown. But any other place, like, it's not big like Dark Souls 3. It's going to get crowded, like, really quick. So I'm wondering what that's going to look like. And is it even going to be fun? Because if I remember correctly, they put fog gates, like, on, like, the worst areas. Or, like, the most inconvenient areas. So, and I'm like, are y'all gonna fix the areas where you can kind of jump out of the levels? So if you're a phantom and you don't know about the exploit, you're pretty much just stuck there. Like, are y'all gonna fix that or not? Like, you know, it's just so many little things. Like, you're making things that were, well, I won't say you're making it, but there's things that's wrong with the game that are only gonna be worsened, you know, by the difference between experienced and inexperienced players. If you're not gonna fix a lot of the flaws and stuff, like, I'm just saying. So, like, are you gonna fix Lost Izalith or not? You know, like, that's another place that would be interesting with the whole 6-player mechanic. But are you gonna fix it? I doubt it. You know, the same inventory screen, really? Like, y'all making all these streamlined changes, and it's like you're not gonna fix the terrible inventory. I don't know about that one, Yogi, but I mean, it's your game. You can do whatever it is that you want. This is like, basically, this is a list of why it is that even though it seems interesting, I kind of feel like this has been a long time coming, and the fact that they haven't done this already is kind of like one of the things where like, really? Like, should I care? And the answer is like, nah, I don't. I really don't. Get ready to get twinked from both sides this time. Now, this is one thing that actually has me interested, is the twinking isn't going to just be one-sided anymore. But you're still going to get twinked. Like, the newer people who don't have that one friend who can run through the game in like 30 minutes, like, you're going to get wrecked. So, like I said, if you think Dark Souls 3's community was toxic, you just wait. And then I'm pretty sure that they're gonna, to some degree, fix the matchmaking system. So you're gonna get evaded a lot more. Because I remember the whole invasion thing was kind of messed up in Dark Souls 1, and I have a feeling they're gonna fix that, even though they didn't say it directly, because of the way it's worded, where you know, there's gonna be matchmaking and up to 6 players and stuff like that. So one can only assume that that's something that they're gonna fix naturally. At least that's what I hope. So are y'all gonna fix the Great Hollow or not? It's like the same problem with Blighttown. Like, those platforms, man. Like, y'all gonna fix it or not? What about resistance? You know, since you can't, look, if you're not gonna give us a Lord Vessel or some way to reallocate our stats, like, are you gonna fix resistance or not? Like, that's still a useless stat. Like, did you change that being good? Or, I mean, you didn't say anything about it. You know, so you're going to fix it? Since we can't reallocate stats, like, are you going to have it? You should not level up resistance? Like, I don't know. I'm just kind of curious. So y'all going to add, you know, active player icons to the bonfires or what? Like, are you going to let us know where the hot spots to invade and stuff are? Where's the best places to do PvP and co-op? Like, are y'all going to let us in on that? Just like on all the other Dark Souls games? Like, I didn't see anything about that. Now, that's just a minor change, but the fact that y'all might not add it, you know, is the reason I'm even making this video. Like, I'm kind of at the point where, you know, I don't have a lot of faith in, like, the little stuff with From Software. You know, it's just like, I kind of feel like, okay, so with Dark Souls 3, I gave this long exposition. It's probably one of my sets of first of 3 sets of videos, where I gave this long description about how this game could be better, and it's sort of like it's like they listened to me or something. Like, I don't know, maybe it was coincidence, but a lot of stuff I suggested, like, I got to see changes in. So it's one of the things, like, I cared enough about the third game being so good, that I was just like, well, yeah, I would love to see it improve, so let's at least discuss that option. And I feel like Dark Souls 3 turned out pretty good, even though some people might disagree. But, I mean, I don't have the energy or the same love for the series to talk about the remaster like that. I thought it was cool. The way I got into it was a little unique. So for it to come back, that seems interesting, but they would need to change a lot of stuff for me, and I don't think they're going to do that. Especially, like, because this is so last minute. And I don't know, like, I kind of feel like whatever grace it is that I might have had with them has been long gone, and really I don't care. So yeah, what about the active player thing? So are y'all gonna fix that Firelink elevator glitch or not? Like, it's the one where you can clip through the floor, and it happens a lot more often than you think. So I don't know. It's just it's a lot of little stuff, man. So yeah, let's get over this real quick. So these are at least 5 things that I'm looking forward to. It's not enough to sell me the game. Like, I'm still probably not gonna buy it. But these are some things that I'm looking forward to. So you can finally make a dedicated fandom to help players again, and because the password system is a thing, it doesn't matter what level you are. So you can make a nice little cool build that isn't limited to like low level or something like that. So yeah, you can finally use the chameleon spell again, and it'll actually be good. And that's one thing I'm looking forward to, especially in Blighttown and the catacombs. Those were some of the scariest places to surprise people. I'm surprised they don't have areas like that. Like, the catacombs in Dark Souls 3 is nowhere near as terrifying, I believe, as yeah, the Painted World is another good example, but of course, the whole DLC thing kind of split the community, so some people had it, some people didn't. So that's like another cool thing, like, it's chameleon builds. Like, that's gonna be a fun thing again. The Forest Bandits with Alvina's Covenant, like, that's definitely gonna be fun again. The Gang Squad Covenant, especially if you can beat the players to the punch of killing the NPCs and stuff. Like, that was so much fun. I would say that's probably the most fun that I've had in Dark Souls 1, is being part of the Alvina's Covenant. The Dried Finger, getting that early is going to be nice, because it's going to, help, those who want invasions, move that along a little quicker and a little earlier in the game. It'll change the experience a little bit. Like, that's one of the things that'll actually change the experience that I'm looking forward to. And then lastly, which I can't discuss, but the password system, of course, is cool, and that's for more than just the dedicated builds, but also for doing co-op and stuff like that. So it's no more like being like trying to guess what the system is and all that craziness. Like, now you can just play with your friend, and if you guys get too far out of level, like you can just use the password system, and you'll pretty much be fine. The stuff I didn't cover is like stuff about like Ursil and stuff like that. I don't care enough. So look, this is my thing. So this is rant time. I got into Dark Souls in an interesting way because I saw a lot of stealth mechanics. Like, Dark Souls had a lot of potential to me because I wanted to play a game that reminded me a lot like Tenchu. Now, mind you, I understand that Dark Souls wasn't necessarily a stealth game, but it was a game that seemed to allow you enough freedom that if you were creative enough, you could use stealth to your advantage. Now, the thing is, it's just like the way Dark Souls was set up, having a dedicated stealth build I would say in the form of like RPG sense of like being a thief or like a rogue or something like that. It was a bad idea because poise was out of control. Parrying was a thing. Like, it was no point in using daggers really. The criticals for daggers weren't all that great. Like, it was like I said, it's a right way to play Dark Souls, and if you're not doing that, you're just putting yourself at a disadvantage. So playing a stealth character, and I would say quote unquote more so like the traditional things, it wasn't really a good idea. I would say one of the coolest builds that I've seen was probably it was a Blighttown build where someone was using a character who had the Dragon Slayer Great Bow, and they were chameleon themselves to hide, and they were setting themselves in really specific areas in Blighttown, and they would shoot enemies from like long distance. I think using the binoculars and the Dragon Slayer bow. And then they were so far that they could kind of not see him or something like that. It was real interesting. That caught my attention. It was that and a few other play styles that was something that I was truly interested in. So that's ultimately why, you know, I got Dark Souls 1. And also Roricon made the game look so much fun. By that time, like, it was really old. So when I came into it with my take on it, the game had already been established. So whilst I was trying to master things like footsies, like you see here, spacing, none of that stuff matters. And like, people will tell you that stuff matters in Dark Souls 1. It doesn't. Like, Dark Souls 1 is about how many exploits you know and how well it is that you can use things like lag and those exploits to your advantage. That's all it comes down to with PvP. Don't let anybody try to tell you anything different. Don't try to bring skill into it, timing. Everything is just about adapting to wonky mechanics and being better at doing it. And when you have the advantage, to keep pushing it in an exploitative way. Like, that's the meta game. Don't let anybody tell you different. I promise you. So if that's what you want, go ahead and get you know, a copy of Dark Souls 1. That's not what I'm interested in. So, no thank you. Because as you can see, like, Dark Souls 3 is a game I actually love, but how dare you be good at this game? Like, because if you think this is bad, now, the thing is, if I wasn't so rusty, a lot of this stuff wouldn't have mattered. I would have just played, you know, a little bit more defensively. But, you know, I didn't care. Like, I just was like, just jump on here, get me some footage for this video that I'm not going to get paid for. Now, also, why am I doing this if I'm not getting paid for it? Well, it's like I did want to kind of keep the two people that watch me up to date on the fact that I am working on projects, but these are projects that are going to likely be beneficial to me. Like, maybe not financially, but in some way they'll be beneficial to my channel and the things that I'm doing. Whereas, you know, just posting video footage of me playing games that nobody watches anyway, and that I'm not getting paid for at all, like, nah, I'm not doing that. Like, this stuff takes a lot of time and, you know, effort and editing. Like, I'm not doing that for free. I'm sorry. So again, like, the Terraria game map is still in development. I'm working on some other games and stuff. These are my own games. These aren't games that are made by other companies. These are actually games I'm developing. And I'll kind of post videos about that, because the thing is, I figured if I'm going to post videos, it's going to be about stuff that's like my games and stuff that I'm working on, like not posting somebody else's games for free. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not doing that. But anyhow, yes, these are the 20 things that I wanted to discuss about Dark Souls 1 Remastered. For better or worse, if you want to get it, like, that's great, but I'm not doing that, man. Like, they would have to make a lot of changes for me to be interested in something like that. And it's just like, I mean, it's cool. Like, don't get me wrong, the concept is cool, but are y'all gonna fix your game? The answer is no. So, I'll see you later then.